In parts of Australia, rain is finally falling, but likely not enough to make a big difference as firefighters battle historic wildfires that have killed at least 28 people and as many as 1 billion animals. Since September, more than 24 million acres, that's 3.5 times the size of Massachusetts, have burned in what's becoming one of Australia's worst and longest wildfire seasons in history, expected to continue through at least March. And while wildfire season has always been dangerous and some climate change deniers are latching on to reports of arson being responsible this year's crisis, scientists widely agree that hotter and drier conditions brought on by, yes, climate change have made things much worse. But even after the flames are finally out and the smoke finally clears, the road to recovery will be a long one for many, and already thousands of Australians who've been forced from their homes are relying on donations to get by, and animals whose entire habitats have been destroyed are going to need a lot of help. Heartbreaking images like these have inspired people from around the world to do what they can. That's why KO Pie's owner and Aussie himself, Sam Jackson, is hosting a fundraiser called Boston Barbie, as in barbecue, for bushfire support. Thanks so much for being here. And among the participants are James Beard-nominated chef and co-owner of Sarma, Cassie Piuma. Great to see you, Cassie. And Nick Dixon is the culinary director of Capo, Fat Baby, Loco, and Lincoln. Great to see you, too. This is not just political for you. This is personal. Your home state of New South Wales is essentially on fire. Absolutely,
yeah. Where I grew up is a little town called Wollongong. Just south of there is alight, you know, and this is my backyard. This is where I grew up.
Your parents are still there, yes?
Absolutely, yeah, the whole family.
How close to all this?
I'd say about 30, 40 miles where they're raging, and they just keep creeping up and up and up. So,
what was that like? What was that part of the world like prior to this? What was it like when you grew up as a kid?
God's country, you know. It was the best place to grow up. Anyway, you had all this wildlife. You could go fishing and surfing, and you know there was always kangaroos on the beach. And
kangaroos on the beach?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. You'd run down the surf dodging kangaroos on the way down there and everything, and it was just a wonderful place to grow up and to see it alight. It scares me to think that there are kids now that will only think of it as a fire inferno rather than, you know, a beautiful place.
So we know why he's doing it, obviously. Why you two? Why are you involved in this, Cassie?
I mean, Sam's a stand-up guy, so like when Sam stands up for everybody, basically. Whenever there's an event or somebody's needed, Sam shows up, and he always donates his time, and he's so kind and generous. So when Sam calls on you, you show up for him.
I think you're being a little too modest. I have to say, I'm stunned by how community spirited the restaurant community has been in the last handful of years when tragedy has hit almost any part of the world. Why are you involved in this thing?
You know, I met Sam a long time ago when I was running a restaurant in Southie, and he came by the restaurant and he dropped off just a bunch of pies from KO Pies. And for a chef to take time out of their day and do that it's amazing. And especially when you're hungry and you need something to eat, and all of a sudden he shows up with these pies. But over the years, as I got to know Sam, you know, you talk to the next chef, and it was the same story, and he did the same thing for them. And the list goes on and on and on, and he's just a leader in the community.
Agreed.
So what are you doing on the 28th? What's it going to be like?
It's going to be a lot of food. There's going to be a lot of good chefs there. That's the amazing part of it for me, was that when I did put the email out basically asking for help, because that's what we needed, I knew that this event was going to be bigger because of the power in numbers. So there's going to be about 25 incredible chefs, not just these guys, but some other current James Beard winners and other James Beard winners.
All names you'd recognise, by the way. I looked down the list today. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
So the idea of a barbie is a community event, okay? So it won't be stuffy. It's going to be everyone hanging out with a beer in hand, eating, you know, just sort of having a good time.
Is an Australian barbie different than a barbecue in America?
I don't think
it's... kangaroos are there, obviously,
exactly,
but other than that, I assume...
It's like a potluck.
Is that... You've been to one of these things?
Based on the way it's described from Sam, is everyone's going to show up and drop some food off and, you know, hang out and socialize, and to me, that's what they are here.
Yeah,
so.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I think that's the main part of it is community and social interaction, you know, and that's the whole point.
And you're raising money for the wildlife thing too, for the habitat. You're doing that as well.
Yes, we've sort of isolated 4 major outlets for the money, and 3 of them are wildlife related, and one of them will be the what's it called? The one we have here too. I don't know why the name's escaping me.
Well, whatever it is.
Whatever it is. Anyways, yeah.
We talked about climate change at the open here, and it drives me nuts when we get emails. I did a commentary on it the other night, and there's been arson almost all the time in wildfire season, but never anything like this. So while you were all nodding, I was seeing you out of the corner of my eye. Do you do sustainable things in your work? Are you conscious of all this climate change stuff while you're all nodding? You do, yes?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, our whole industry is based on sustainability and, buying meat and fish from, the right people that are doing the right things and getting rid of our trash in a sustainable way and composting and, all the things. It's all so relative to discuss. I mean, climate change is something that affects everybody, especially in our industry. But, I've got kids. I want them to live in a world that's not burning.
Or want them to just live.
I just want them to live or that's not underwater or whatever. But from a business perspective in a restaurant, I think the restaurant industry, we're all just trying every day to be a little more green and, just get rid of stuff in a positive way or help the community and the environment.
So there's a connection to that. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
not just him and...
No, I mean, we're here for Sam, but we're also here for the environment.
I know all your places, but I realize people at home may not. Give me 15, 20 seconds on your places.
So we got like 5 restaurants right in South Boston on West Broadway. We have an American Tavern, Lincoln Tavern. We have a big, beautiful Italian restaurant, Capo. We have a sushi restaurant called Fat Baby. We have a taqueria called Loco, and then we just bought this little dive bar called The Junction, and we're going to put up some pub food there.
I love that you call it a dive bar. Tell us about Sarma.
Wow, this is an ambitious man. I have one very small place.
By the way, South Boston, yes? And Somerville, for those who don't know. Tell us about Sarma.
It's a very small, not small, but a neighborhood kind of joint based on meze, which is all small plates. And, it's just a communal kind of experience where people are meant to share and enjoy different tastes and, kind of celebrate everyday life and socialize and chat. Kind of like a Barbie. I mean, it's kind of the same
thing. How about KO Pies, by the way?
It's...
East Boston.
East Boston, inside the shipyard and marina right there. Mm-hmm. And we are dedicated to the meat pie. That's all I need to say.
Simple
really.
enough.
Yeah.
While I have you here, we're talking on the radio today about, you were sort of the new age people in your industry. But, we obviously read today about, Top of the Hub.
I worked there.
Gone. You did work there?
I did. Yeah. That was my first kitchen job ever.
When places that were sort of the core of what Boston food was forever disappear like this, or like the no-name fish, or whatever. I mean, what does that do? What does that feel like?
I think it just feels like the industry is changing. What people want is changing. The expectations are changing, price points are changing, all the things. But part of me, my heart aches a little bit for the places like that are disappearing.
You feel that way?
Yeah.
Because you do, or because you think you should?
No, I mean, I'm kind of involved in a restaurant like that. I helped do, we took over a restaurant called 224 Boston in Dorchester. Mm-hmm. That's been around forever. And, the menu kind of just got a little aged, and we went in there and we kind of did our thing with what we do with the food and kind of cleaned up the space a little bit. And there's a connection to that. And, it's just something that you get passionate about and try to carry on these legacies of these amazing places.
A lot of passion on a lot of fronts with you three. 28th again, and if you can make it, great. We're going to tell you where to go. And if you can't make it, you can send a donation as well.
Yeah, there is an online donation that you can make too as well. So anything helps, and I know everyone in Australia is thrilled to have us on the other side of the world all pitching in to support it.
Well, we're thrilled that you guys and your colleagues are doing it. Pleasure to meet you. Thanks so much.
Nice
Cassie, thanks for your time. Sam, thanks so much.
You're
doing great work. Appreciate it. Again, more information, Google Eventbrite, Boston, and Bushfire.